We're live.
Yay!
Yay! Well, this is exciting.
Yeah, everybody, this is our first BAC joint Tea for Two. I'm actually using Chrissy's mug that she gave me, Soul Sisters, which leads into just us giving a little intro before we bring our Lloyd in. And Chrissy's got her New York City mug. Be very befitting. Right. So welcome you guys who are live. Thanks for joining us live. Those of you who will be watching this in the future, hey now, what's up? Thanks for joining us. I'm Alexis, and this is
I'm Chryssie Whitehead.
Yeah, I think she's that way.
This way. Yeah.
And we are the co-founders of Broadway Arts Community. We met in 2001 on the first national tour of Fosse, which will bring in Lloyd. This is how we know Lloyd, Mr. Culbreath, the legend himself. And Chryssie and I have been friends, dearest friends since then. We lived together in LA, lived together on the road. Both of us having 20-year careers both on Broadway and in film and TV. And the whole time we've taught. And in 2017, I reached out to Chryssie wanting to see if she wanted to join forces. And
so we became Broadway Arts Community together. And what we offer you guys is we're a virtual online training right now. We are doing so many things: dance, acting for film and television, musical theater. You want to get coached, you want to get a refresher. It's literally ages 13 to professionals. So we work with them all, but we also are starting our BAC Studios next week, which is our live online classes for a very affordable price, hopefully. And always just know that you can reach out to us just whenever. Like, we'd love to hear from you. If you're wanting to be a part of the community and you're trying to figure it out, reach out. So check us out, right, at www.broadwayartscommunity.com. Hi, Brittany Lauren. Thank you so much for tuning in with us.
Brittany.
And
you guys, part of what this whole thing is, which Lloyd is coming in, is the reason why we did this is because we want to foster a community of like-minded people, passionate people who are educators that care about the work. And this is like, there's no better example than Lloyd Culbreath of like just loving the work itself. And I feel like for me and Chryssie, having learned from him, watching him on 2000, like on the Fosse tour, we learned a lot of that from watching people like Lloyd. So I don't know if this is a good intro into.
Great. Oh wait, well, yes, we'll bring him in, but we're going to talk about his credits. Okay, here we go. Yes.
Oh,
Lloyd, you're here.
I know, we're so crazy, Lloyd. We get so excited.
So I'll just start it and you finish it, Lex. Yeah.
Yes.
Lloyd Culbreath is a veteran Fosse dancer. He has worked in the entertainment industry for over 30 years. Currently, he is lead instructor for the Fosse Master Class Series, sanctioned by the Verdon Fosse Estate. Lloyd's Broadway credits include
DANCIN, Sophisticated Ladies, The Tap Dance Kid, Big Deal, National Tour of Sweet Charity, not the revival, y'all, like the real one. Honky Tonk Nights, Guys and Dolls, on the Town, in which he was the assistant choreographer. Man of La Mancha, also assistant choreographer. The National Tour of Chicago, in which he was the dance captain, and Chita Rivera, The Dancer's Life. So welcome, Lloyd. We're super.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Lloyd, we're so excited. Like, I think we always start with how do we know each other, the context of each other. So I'm just going to talk about my first memory of you and Fosse is meeting you on the first national tour. So Alexis and I were babies. We were the youngest of the cast. And when I saw you for the first time, when I was watching the show as a swing, not really knowing what a swing was, and Alexis and I can attest to that. We're like, what are we doing? I got to watch the show a lot. And I got to watch you do Mr. Bojangles. And I mean, stellar, beautiful. I kind of was just like in awe of you. You were your work ethic was incredible. you were very poised when you talk and you spoke to us, and I knew you had all this knowledge. And my mom always talked to me about respect the wisdom of people that come before you, which is also part of these T for Two chats. So thank you for that. You, like Alexis said, that was my first memory of you. And while Alexis talks, I'm going to show some pictures of our scrapbooking and fun things. Alexis, go ahead.
Yeah, and Lloyd, we want to obviously get to you, but my first memory also was of watching you in the Frug. I remember watching you specifically in the Frug. I was very intimidated when I joined the class, but I remembered the Frug because that number was so hard to learn. And I was like trying to watch my track, which I was learning Sarah Jane's track at the time. And yes, Lloyd, there he is. That must have been, which costume is that?
DANCIN, Dan.
No, that right there is from Chicago.
Okay, yes.
And that was probably toward the beginning. I did the show twice. That was probably during the first leg of the first time that I did the show. And it's a funny thing because the longer I was in the show, they kept changing my costume, and my costume kept getting smaller and smaller. So,
I mean, how tall are you, Lloyd? I mean,
I claim to be 6 foot, but I really, and for many years, I thought that I was 5'11 3/4, but I guess with age, I've shrunk because I'm not even quite 5'11.
Wow, you dance to me like you're 6'4".
Yeah.
I thought you were like 6'3". Well, I'm going to wrap up my memory because I remember watching you do, I could not understand, and I remember watching you do this part. Like this section.
Well, my arms and my legs, my torso is very short, and my arms and legs are extremely long. When I stand, my arms don't quite get to my knees, but they're pretty long. So.
Well, I just remember watching you, Frug, and being like, "Oh, okay, that's it."
Well, and then Lloyd, what is this memory? Do you remember this?
Wait a minute.
Can you zoom in, Chryssie?
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, can you see it? More zoomed in?
I can't see.
There's Lloyd. Is that Christine Colby-Jakes, or is that you, Chryssie? I can't see.
This is me.
That's you two dancing.
That's us dancing somewhere. There's Terrace.
Wait a minute. Hang on one second.
And there's Noah. That's also Noah Neve in there.
Yes. Oh yeah, I think yes. Noah. What is happening here, Alexis?
I don't know. I'm lifting.
Sandwiched with Darren and Ron.
I don't know what this is. It must have been some fun fest.
In Japan.
I don't either. But we were
having fun, Lloyd.
And then this is a cool one. This is from.
Oh yeah, I just sent that to the estate the other day. I kind of came across that. I guess we're backstage, and I guess she's in changes and
yes.
Dressed for Sing Sing, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Sing Sing.
Yeah, but Christine actually just started teaching for the estate. She's just the loveliest. She's lovely.
Did she start teaching?
She just did. I think she taught maybe yesterday or just recently. Yeah.
Oh God, I want to learn. I want to learn changes like the proper way.
I got to do it. I actually got to do that. I think in Japan before I stopped being a swing. But anyway, those are our memories of you and how you. I mean, how cool is that you touch generation after generation, and so this is why we want your story to be shared.
Oh.
Yeah, so we want to start from the beginning, Lloyd. So I hope you don't mind. We're going to jump in. Set us up for your so we're like little Lloyd, and where you grew up, and kind of just your set the stage for your entrance into becoming a dancer, or your life, your family life, and what led you to even start dancing.
This blank white room that I'm sitting in was my childhood bedroom. And I'm living in the house that I grew up in. I'm trying to get it prepared to be sold, but this is my childhood bedroom. And I grew up I was born and grew up in Hempstead, Long Island. Oh, that's me. I was probably about 5.
Oh my God,
or
you're
6.
so
And I was a severe asthmatic as a child, and the doctors had told my parents that in all probability, they would probably have to move away from New York and move to the desert. Most of my mother's family was in the New York area. She came from a family of 16 children.
Wow.
And so I guess they were not trying to make that move. But what ended up happening was that the doctor, which I think was a little ahead of, she wasn't into the whole drug thing. She suggested that perhaps some kind of physical activity would be good to bolster my immune system. And I used to watch American Bandstand and stuff like that all the time. I love the musical. I was obsessed with Mary Poppins. And so I used to dance around. And one day my mother was just sort of like, do you want to go to dance studio? I think in my head then I was thinking that I was going to learn how to do the twist or something. But then she put me into dance. And it was not because she had any dreams of seeing her child on stage. I think it really was a health thing.
Sure.
And I began with tap.
Aww.
And I took tap for about 3 or 4 years. And then I picked up jazz and acrobatics.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started in ballet. And that kind of took me through my grade school and high school years. I did not intend on going into show business. I initially intended on, as a kid, I dreamed about being a lawyer, and then I was like, I don't want to do that. And I actually thought when I'm leaving high school, I was going to try to go to school to be a comic book illustrator. But
where did that come from? Because I'm looking at this kid right here with fringe on his shirt, and I'm just curious as to what was this dance and what was your favorite style? When did you what? You know what I mean?
Oh, I enjoyed going to dance studio. I mean, it was just, I had a whole other set of friends. I had like 2 little lives that were going on. Well, at that point, not so much anymore. But at that point, I loved the tap dance. And then, of course, once I started jazz, I loved that. I just loved the dance. I really did love the dance. I loved tumbling. I just loved dance. And I just did it all through, and I really enjoyed it. But
were you the only boy?
No. Well, initially in my class, I started out with one other guy. He quit. Then I was kind of that boy. But my studio used to have many different locations. And then I moved to another location because they felt that class was going to be better for me. I actually grew up with Ralph Macchio from the Karate Kid.
Oh my gosh.
We danced together when we were kids. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wait, the guy. Wait. The actor who played the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Macchio.
Yeah.
He's had a comeback in that new. Have you watched Netflix?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but yes.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
They did a comeback on the Netflix.
Gotta check it out.
You have to. The Karate Kid. They come back and they're older. Alexis, it's hilarious. They come back.
Oh, and Cobra Kai. Yes. I have seen it. I have a friend on it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
We grew up together. We were in class together, and there was another young man, David Sanders, who owns several dance studios and a huge dance convention that goes all around. We were all contemporaries, and we just, there was all of that. And
so you had some boys. You had some confidence.
We had a couple of boys, and there was a couple of older guys. There was a guy, Terrell, and then as the studio continued on, there were more guys, and so
in Long Island, New York. Is it still around?
Go figure. Yeah. Well, my teacher had worked as a June Taylor dancer and a Rockette.
Wow, that's what I was going to say. Who was your teacher? Because he was a big influence. But
well, I eventually started teaching with. She was sort of the main teacher at the studio. I eventually got to train with. Her name was Linda Gachet. Her name is Linda Gachet, and she, as I said, worked professionally. And then she toured. She used to tour around with. There was a huge tour that went around called Dance Olympus when I was a kid. She was on staff with them for many, many years, and she just sort of infused this love of all this stuff in regards to all of that. And, it just, I don't know. I drank the Kool-Aid or something.
Wow.
Just loved it.
My question to you is this. When you drank the Kool-Aid, this is your senior year high school photo, right?
Yes, I was editor of the yearbook.
Yes, you were. You know, I find that with a lot of dancers. They're like, it's not like a lot of dancers thrive in other areas. Like, you know, we just have this sense of discipline and like need to kind of achieve or something, you know. I mean, did that lead you to, like you said, you didn't necessarily go into wanting to pursue a career in entertainment, but so you're in your senior year and you've been dancing through high school. What did you go to college? Did you want to go to college? Did you?
I'll tell you, just to back up a little bit. I think when I was 16 or 15, I'd have to do the math, but in any event, I saw the original production. My mom and our friends, we all went to see the original production of Chicago with Gwen and Chita.
Wow.
And we were sitting in the balcony. My mom always liked to sit in the balcony because she thought that she had a better view of the whole stage.
Mm-hmm.
So we were sitting there, and I was leaning on the aisle, on the railing. And I don't know, in the midst of the first act of the show, there was a whole thing going on. It was I was watching the show, and I realized that I didn't understand everything, but it was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. And off in the corner, when one scene was going on, there happened to be this guy that seemed to be dancing in front of one of, like, off to the side as sort of atmosphere to the scene that was going on. But for some reason, I became fascinated with him. His name was Ross Miles. He ended up, he was also in the original company of DANCIN.
Miles.
And I don't know, it was just something about it. And immediately there was a connection because I had seen many Broadway shows to that point. My mother used to take me quite a bit. I went on school trips and the whole thing. But there was something about it that suddenly I understood that, wait a minute, they're dancing and I dance, and maybe that was sort of the first time that I ever made the connection that maybe I could do this thing. And not long after that, it must have been in any event, the year that the original company of DANCIN was auditioning for the first time. The day before that audition, there was a chorus line audition, and my friend, a very dear friend of mine, who also went to the studio for a while, his name is John Salvatore. He's worked in the business quite a bit as well. He said, there's this audition for chorus line. We should go. And so I asked my mother. She gave me permission. We went into the city.
Oh my God. How old? You were 16, 17?
I think I was 15, 16.
Oh my gosh.
15, maybe 16. And we went to the audition, and I made it past the double pirouette and the time step. So I got to do the first combination, and you know, and I was like, oh my God. And then I got cut. And then the very next day was the original audition for DANCIN. It was at the Broadway Theater, which coincidentally years later, that's where Big Deal opened.
Wow.
And so I asked my mother, I said, well, and I remember saying, this will just let you know, young ones, I was like, well, I did really well today, so I know I'm going to do much better. So I went in and I actually auditioned for the show. And that was sort of the beginning
for Mr. Fosse.
Yeah, he was there.
He was there.
Hey, walk us through that, because we weren't there. Walk us through it, because this whole T for two thing is also from this. So
well, there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men at this audition, and it was at the Broadway Theater. That's where The Wiz was playing at that juncture. So the set was, I was like, oh my God. And so and back to the chorus line thing. When they took us into the Schubert Theater and led you down the stairs, like the very first thing I saw, because you went into the wardrobe room, the very first thing I saw was one of the top hats, and they were cleaning the costumes. And I don't know, I feel bad for the kids today, because that being the audition in the theater gave you a greater sense of this. When you're standing on the stage like that versus in some rehearsal studio, you really get a sense of, this could be me. Like, you're literally, it's like, there's the costume. I've seen that costume. It's close enough to touch. I don't know. So the day of the
Okay, so I'm sorry, just because I will always pause a little bit, and maybe Alexis will too, just because I'm gaining into your brain. I'm not clear. You were auditioning at the theater that Chorus Line was playing at that time, and you were walking through.
That's the way auditions used to be. We didn't rehearse at audition in rehearsal studios. You rehearsed on stage at theaters. They would rent the theaters for the day. So Chorus Line was having their audition, so it was at the theater. So they would walk you into the Schubert, down the stairs into the wardrobe room. You'd hang out down there, kind of warm up. They'd lead you up the stairs.
And that's when you saw the top hat and you saw the costume, because you had already seen it. You saw the show before?
Of course I'd seen the show. Yes.
Wow.
How many times? How many times had you seen it in high school? What do you mean, of course? I mean, Broadway is Broadway. I mean, who knows?
I saw Chorus Line once in high school. After I began studying in the city, I must have seen the show probably about 40, 50 times.
Wow.
Yeah. I would study and I would buy standing room or sneak in or pay the ticket. I mean, tickets were cheaper, so.
Where were you studying at that time when you said you started studying in the city?
I studied primarily at the Phil Black Studio, which was on the corner of 50th and Broadway, upstairs above a stripper joint.
Nice. You're for Sweet Charity.
Yeah, but it was great. It was great. He was
Lloyd. Were you did you go there, start training in high school? Sorry, I missed that. Did you start training in high school in the city?
Yeah, my friends and I, probably around maybe when I was 16, we would go into the city on Saturdays and take classes. We would take at Phil Black, or we would take at Chuck Kelly, who was in the Ed Sullivan Building, was fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, and I also used to take with Frank Hatchett, who I knew from my teacher Linda and Frank toured together on dance conventions, so I already knew him. So I kind of bounced around a little bit, but primarily at Phil Black. And we would go in on Saturdays and take class and stuff. And and then sometimes and don't do this, kids, but sometimes my teacher would I would cut school and I'd go in the city with her and go to class. Yeah. But by that point I was like a senior, so but yeah.
Totally. I mean, so I guess what Alexis was asking you earlier, which was, when did you know that I'm thinking as soon as you saw a Broadway show, you were like, no, okay, Broadway's the dream, because it brought
no, because
when you saw Chicago
Broadway shows since probably about the time that I was 11, 12.
So it was when you saw Chicago, when you saw that dancer.
It was in yeah.
But did he look like you, Lloyd?
No, not at all. Ross is almost looked Nordic, very blonde. I don't know. There was just something about his dancing. Something about his dancing, and I just did that.
Did you ever meet him or work with him?
Well, yes, I did. When I was on tour with Chicago many years later, one of the guys that ended up coming into the show as a swing, his name was David. I can't think of his name now. David, but he joined the show as a swing. We became friendly, and we got into a conversation like this, and I told him the whole story about Ross Miles, and he said, "Oh," he goes, "Well, he's like my best friend, and he's coming to see the show. Would you like to meet him?" So I said, "Absolutely." So we're at the National Theater in Washington, D.C., and the show finishes, and I come down the hallway, toward the stage, because at the National Theater, you go right from the street. There's the stage door, and there's a long hallway, and the doorman is at the end, and then you get to the backstage area. So I came out, and there was David, and here was Ross Miles, who now is actually a woman.
Oh,
right. And he introduced me, and quite unlike my plan, I completely lost my cool points. I started to talk, and I completely broke down into tears. And I know he was a little like, "Oh my God," or she. And but it was really unbelievable because I was like, you have no idea. You just have no idea. So we did eventually meet, and I've seen her once since because a couple of years back, Dancers Over 40, an organization here in the city, had an evening where they celebrated the original company of DANCIN, and they had two panels. They had original company members and they had replacements. And I was asked to be on the panel, and we saw each other there, and and it's just it's crazy. Yeah.
But it is crazy because we all have, all of us listening, all of us here have that one or two people that we watched live.
Right.
So we went, wow, how can I do that? And you have no idea. I like put that in quotation marks, like you have no idea how much you've affected my life. And we have to remember that.
Yeah.
We have to remember that it's such a gift that what we do, we tend to forget. Like, I'm curious about for you, how did you do, I guess we can get into that a little bit later, but I'm just curious about holding on to that. You have no idea. Somebody could be, little Lloyd could be watching you in the audience and,
I've worked with a lot of people who, and I'm not to say that there haven't been days where I've done this because we all have those days, but I think the rushing out of the stage door and refusing to sign autographs and things and all of that is, and once again, everybody has their own choice. I think it's wrong. I think that all of that is part of your responsibility.
Mm.
And I know that it meant a great deal to me. And I think that it's important that you kind of pass it along. That's what you're supposed to do. We're all supposed to continue sharing,
Yep.
and once again, you just never realize how much it can mean to some kid or something. I just think it's important to.
Well, and it also generates, like what I was saying, and I know what Chryssie and I both have noticed about people like yourself. It generates a sense of connection between generations where you're instilling in the next generation that there is something to behold about all the process and the people and the in between jobs. And one of my dear friends said to me that her best moments have been all the things in between her resume. And like stopping at the stage door is kind of one of those things, because I am just as guilty of, like, Wicked was my first Broadway show and there were mobs of people outside and I just like wanted to get home and eat the rest of my dinner. You know what I mean? Like I didn't, and I was too young at that time to realize that it was a part of the responsibility. But that's also because no one ever really told me that. Like I didn't really have anyone who could really share that with me in that way, like with an intimate connection like that. So I think that's one of the things why we want to do things like this, and why in our teaching, it's so much more than just like, okay, your shoulder needs to be forward more and like, I need more energy in your eyes. Like that's important too. But it's also like, okay, let's talk as human beings and let's
and how are you being in the world? How are you being a professional? Well, these things that people don't know, and so we kind of want to help that.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell students it's really fantastic, which I think I even said at your class, it's really fantastic to be talented, but it's better to be a good person.
You did say that.
And I believe that. And once again, I also know that not only is it flattering, but here's the thing. If there's no audience, then you don't get to do your thing.
Amen.
And and I also let your kids, it's everyone in the theater does a job. If the ushers don't lead them to their seats and give them a playbill, they don't know where they're sitting. They don't know who you are. If the janitors don't clean the place, or, it's the people scrubbing the toilets. It's like everyone has a place. And I've known a lot of people that don't even acknowledge the people that work in the front house. I think that it's wrong. I think that we all contribute to the magic that is an evening of theater. Everyone does something that contributes to that experience. And so you taking a second to sign some playbills, first of all, it's incredibly flattering that someone thinks that you're worth that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think I think it is part of our job to be representatives, not only for the show that we're in, but also for the field that we're pursuing. And we're promoting a positive image of the thing that we're doing and we're so passionate about. And I just think it's really important. And so I never, there were, like I said, there were many times where I was like, and now tonight I'm not doing that. But I would say generally on the predominant, I was like, let me just stop here and, say whatever that is. I just think it's important. And that was well before. Now they all have it set up like everything's like barricaded in a red carpet and all of that. And it's just, I don't know. I get it. But so much of it has just become so
commercialized,
cold, and a little impersonal. And I think it was just, I don't know. But that's me.
It's changed.
No, we appreciate it because it has changed, and we're kind of in a between bridge, Alexis and I. They're in that. We remember the old school. We were trained by old school, so we have old school in us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also in with the younger and seeing how it's moved and morphed and changed.
Yeah.
We're not too isolated from it, but anyway.
So Lloyd, when so you're training, I want to get back to your journey, because somewhere along the way you obviously learned this, because you didn't know this at 15. So like, take us back to you're a senior in high school, you're training, you're training on Saturdays, you're sometimes skipping class. Don't do this, kids, with your teacher. And then you saw Chicago, and then what next? Like what?
Well, I mean, certainly there was beginning to become a bit of a shift. And somewhere along the line, my high school art teacher, Mrs. Shear, who, deepest apologies to, she and I had, she was doing her job and critiqued something I was working on, because she was trying to get me focused to try to put my stuff together to try to get, and I just didn't appreciate that. And I don't know, I was just being a kid. But there was definitely a shift. And then by that point, I was beginning to get a little bit of this. And like I said, I just started studying. And then, there was like, oh, maybe we can go to some auditions. And, and then it just, one thing sort of led to another. Then I graduated high school. I went, I applied to probably about 14 or more dance programs across the country. I got turned down by everybody. Yeah, I did. And
what?
Yeah,
sorry.
I did. The only person that gave me anything when I auditioned for NYU, the head of the dance department at that point, his name was Stuart Hodes. And he, at the end of the audition, he said to me, he goes, I don't think that your technique is strong enough. He goes, but I want you to go out, go to the city and study for a year and come back, and I will let you in without even auditioning. He goes, I think you're talented, but I think that you just need to bolster your technique.
Whoa, college is telling you to do that?
Yeah, that was Stuart Hodes.
Okay.
And so
that's interesting.
So then, of course, I was disappointed. I ended up going to York College, just generally in Queens. I went but still going to the city and trying to do things, but going to school as well. I did one semester. It was disastrous. And it was right around the holidays. And my mom said, well, clearly this is not working out. She goes, okay, here's what I'll do. She goes, I will pay for you. I will support you for 1 year to go into the city. And if you get a job, but after that, you're on your own.
Wow.
And
yes,
Mom. Get a job.
Yes, Mama. What did she do? What did she do for a living?
My mom was a social worker.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an amazing lady.
She was really something.
What was her name?
Gardenia.
Gardenia?
Yeah, Gardenia. I think I told you she came to my dancing audition, right?
Yes, you told me that story, but you tell this is yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that story.
So
Amazing.
I studied, and then when I was 19, I got a job, and my first job was Sweet Charity at the Elmsford Dinner Theater upstate in New York with Gene Foote, who was in the original Chicago and the original Pippin as director, and our charity was Mitzi Hamilton.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. So.
And who were you? Were you in the ensemble?
That's how I know Mitzi, and that's how it all kind of started.
And it all starts with the community, right? Sorry, the community. It all starts.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. That's you started investing in your people, and that's how you started making friends in that way. See, it's just so crazy.
And you were in the ensemble?
Yes, I was in the ensemble, and I played Daddy Brubeck, so I sang The Rhythm of Life.
Oh, you did? I was about to say, were you down?
Then I finished that.
That's a big role for your first gig.
Yeah, and then I finished that. I was out of work a couple of months, and then I booked a show called America, which was a summer show. Radio City used to do summer shows, and so I did that for the entire summer, had a great time.
Wow.
And then I may have been out of work a couple of months, and then I auditioned, which I had previously auditioned for Sophisticated Ladies, and when they were originally casting, and I got cut. But
Lloyd, I have to pause you because you're auditioning. You came from such a dance background, and if I'm a dancer listening to you right now, I'm going, how did you know? Was your first musical Sweet Charity? How did you know how to come in with a cut and sing? When did singing come a hold of your life? Like, how'd you know to do all that?
I guess because I was studying in the city, and then I started studying with a guy right out here in Long Island. He was like 2 towns over. His name was Jerry Braggan. But I had only done one musical in high school. I couldn't even hit a note on a piano. But then I started studying with this guy, and then it just progressed.
Oh, okay. So you got a voice teacher after that.
And then I eventually switched to another teacher. I don't even remember who, but you know, I just started.
Great. Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I didn't know anything. Every step of the way was a discovery. I mean, it really was. I was not, and my mother was not a stage mom kind of a gal. So it, you know, all of it was me. It wasn't.
Good
there
for
was
you.
None of that. You know.
I want to hear this DANCIN story, but I also want to ask because we have a lot of people who have dreams of moving to New York. And so when you said that your mom said, I'm going to help you for a year, my mom had kind of a similar deal with me, but were you living at home still because you could commute? So that's just some practical questions. You were living at home.
Yes.
And what she meant was, I'm not going to make you pay rent, and I'm not going to make you get a side job. I'm going to give you food.
And I'll pay for the classes and for snacks and all those things.
Right.
Like you would for college. So basically it was like a gap year.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
You were able to live at home. That's great. Thank God.
So on my 21st birthday, I got hired for Sophisticated Ladies, and that was my first Broadway show.
Can we do this? Can we? I found something. So, because I want you to just talk us through, and you can talk us through this. So, but I think it's when you're coming in. I could be wrong. Sorry, I got so excited that I get nervous about finding it on this thing. But here it is. Okay, Sophisticated Ladies, share.
Chrissy's our techie. Here it is.
Oh, this is Don't Mean a Thing. I think on the back of the line. Incomparable Phyllis Hyman.
Get closer to the Yes, Mama. Get closer when you speak. Closer to the speaker. Here he comes.
I'm going to be the back of the line. And in the front of the line, that's Eugene Fleming.
Yeah, is it really?
Yeah.
There you are, Lloyd.
Now,
Hey,
this is called the one-man dance, which is actually a historical thing from the Con Club.
Wow.
wow.
It's like Rockettes.
I was just gonna say, did you like doing that?
Oh, it was a great show. Well, traditionally in the show, it was only 4 guys, but for this made-for-TV thing, they put everybody in, thing.
That's hard. Here you are tapping your first foray into dance.
I used to be a good tapper.
You're at the head of the V?
Yeah.
I'm on
Oh, here.
the stage right side.
See my cursor?
Yes, yes,
I'm
yes.
going to be the first guy off. Right.
Yes. So you got to check out.
That's amazing.
Isn't
Amazing.
that amazing? So
That's funny.
hold on.
So you get into the sophisticated ladies and you're 21 and what was that like?
Amazing. Just absolutely amazing. And suddenly I'm, living the dream, and I'm in the midst of sophisticated ladies. I was swinging 4 guys, and I understudied
You were swinging.
Greg Burge and Hinton Battle. So
Wow.
and so now I think I did the show for about 6 or 7 months, but I got to a point of the show, and now I'm going on as an understudy for the first time. I'm going on for Greg Burge. So I opened on a Tuesday, and then on that Wednesday matinee, my mom was going to come and see me do the show. But now in the process of that, I get a call from DANCIN to come in and audition between shows on the Wednesday.
Are you kidding? The one day that you're going on, you had been in the show for 6 months?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And one day you have to go to audition.
Right. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, once again, look at how naive I said, well, I'd love to come and audition. I said, but my mom is coming to see the show, and I can't just dump her on the side of the road. And they said, well, bring her with you. And so I was like, okay. So the show ended. I picked my mom up at the stage door. We were at the L'Enfantine on 46th Street. We walked uptown to 50th Street to DANCIN, which was at the Ambassador, where Chicago is.
Yes.
And they took us backstage, and they sat her in the audience right in back of them so she could see the whole thing. And I had to sing a billion different songs in many different keys and stuff. And so I did all of that. And then they thanked me for coming, and I said, thank you very much.
Wait, who's they? Is it Fosse? Mr. Fosse?
No, it was Peter Mumford, the dance captain.
Yes.
No, Peter Mumford, the stage manager. Chet Walker was the dance captain, and Bill Hastings was his assistant.
Bill Hastings,
and
right?
So then we left to go to dinner, because then we had to eat before I had to go back. And most people, the Ambassador Theater, the stage door is down a long alleyway.
Oh yeah. That's where you're talking now.
My mom and I leave the stage door, and I begin to talk to her, and she goes, no. And I'm like, okay. And we get out on the street, and now we're heading to the restaurant, and then she goes, now I can tell you what they said about you. And she did. And so my mom came to an audition with me. Yes, she did.
What they said?
They just said that they just thought that I was great and all that stuff. And then I think it was like that Friday. No, then I got a call to come in and dance that Friday in a private audition, which I did. And did
for Mr. Fosse, or no?
No. I didn't meet him during that, actually. We did a bunch of combinations, and then they told me they had to contact Mr. Fosse, and that it would probably be several weeks before I heard, but literally in a couple of days, they called me and told me I had the job, and I turned in my notice at Sophisticated Ladies, and my 2-week notice, and then I started rehearsals.
Oh my God.
And that's how I did DANCIN. And I did the last 3.5 months of the show in New York, and then the show closed.
Wow.
But you were a part of it. It's incredible. And are you a part of this show on the Tonys? The Tonys?
Oh no. That was the original cast of the show.
Right.
Totally. And that's why I was asking. But still, I mean, just that work, and Alexis and I were watching it, how different and free and the dancing was, watching it again. And Annie did say in our class, and our expert, it really stuck with me. She was like, ugh, there's no caution in Fosse dancing. Specificity, yes, but no caution.
Yeah, no, it was a very different feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I'm.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Oh, there you go. Oh, we lost you for a hot second.
I'm sure if I could see videos of myself in hindsight, I would think that.
Oh no.
I think it's when he gets a call. He's probably getting a call.
Oh, because he's on his phone.
Yeah. We lost you, Lloyd.
We lost you, Lloyd. I'm going to set up the Chita Rivera. I'm sure we're good with that.
Yeah. Hopefully you can maybe still hear us, Lloyd. But just so those of you who are watching, DANCIN Man is from DANCIN, which was also in Fosse, the show that Chryssie and I met Lloyd in. And DANCIN Man was Fosse's ode to Fred Astaire. And that's one of the things that Anne Ranking just recently taught us. So I was curious, just, what Lloyd's memories are from doing DANCIN Man, because it's one of the most fun numbers that I learned from Fosse. It's just like the most fun number.
I love it because we're all together.
You're not in heels too. You're like in the little, you're in the little like, flats.
And we're also all together. Like we're in, I don't know. I'm going to remove him for a second and just see till he gets back.
Yeah.
And also we're all in it together, right, Lex? Like it's a whole ensemble piece.
A white pinstripe suits. Yeah. Uh-oh. And spats. I hope we didn't lose him. I'm going to give him a quick text.
Okay. Give him a quick text.
Yeah.
While we're waiting on him, I will show you the DANCIN that we're talking about, even though he's not in this video. Check out this. This is Anne Ranking is in here. It's very, very cool and very inspiring and totally different than what we did. So let's try this in here.
Maybe the phone died.
Maybe. Let's see. All right. So
DANCIN. I know we only have 3 people watching live, but don't go.
Don't go.
There's Lloyd. He's coming back.
Oh, there he is. Oh, hold on. Never mind. I was going to share something. Hold on.
I'm
what
sorry.
happened?
I had a phone call and it screwed everything up.
That's okay. Okay. We're fine. We were talking about DANCIN Man and
we're talking about DANCIN Man.
Yeah, we're good. These chats are supposed to feel very like we're all like everybody's peeping in the living room together. Yeah, so leveling the playing field where.
That's what Annie taught us, Lloyd. She taught us DANCIN Man. And she made us do the flick kicks like 1,000 times. She's like, lean back. More, come on, more. We were all like, ah.
I did it. Lloyd, I mean, it's like taking class with you. I literally would turn into like a 15-year-old again and be like, I will get this. I am going to get this. Which is great. It's that old school teaching that honestly, the whole generation, the younger generation that took that class literally said to us, yeah, wow, she was so strong, but so kind.
Yeah.
So strong and so kind. And nope, we're going to do it again. We're going to keep doing this until we get it right. That's what she said.
Yeah.
It was great. Let's move on to, before we just finish the Broadway, so you've done so many Broadway shows and we've picked a few. You started with Sophistic Lady. With DANCIN, for you, what does Broadway mean to you? Once you got the job, it's one thing to audition for the job and then you show up for the job. What is Broadway to you?
It really was the ultimate dream for me. And so I only dreamed about doing one Broadway show. So I've kind of looked at this entire thing as that everything else, as they say, is like gravy. It's just extra. Like I didn't see beyond the dream of one thing. And I can honestly say that I've been so fortunate. I mean, it really was like a snowball rolling downhill. It kind of took on a momentum of its own. I never could have dreamed that I would have worked with so many of the people that I just grew up just idolizing or reading about. And I've just I really have been very fortunate in that regard. So I don't know. It just it made
Great.
it made me feel legitimate or something,
Yeah.
And I'm just very thankful for the ride. It was very because there are a lot of that's Anything Goes. That's my dear friend Daryl Richardson.
Yeah, I was curious about that. Look at those heels, and look at you. Look at those lines.
Yeah, the lines.
She's a lovely, lovely, dear friend, and we've known each other for years, even before this. And
what is her name again, Lloyd?
Daryl Richardson.
Daryl Richardson. Is she still dancing and kind of?
Oh yeah. She works with kids in Queens in a program, and she's very spiritually based, and she's developing a animated movie based on the creation and stuff. She's very talented and such a lovely lady, and such a good friend. That is actually in class, going down the floor at the Phil Black studio.
I see that.
Where? What studio?
Phil Black.
Phil Black.
I see that in the window. Look, it's in the window.
Oh, I was like, is that Steps?
Yeah, look at those. Look at the outfits too. It's amazing.
And what year is this? Are we in the 80s or the 70s?
No, that is probably 78, 79.
Amazing.
Yeah.
If you jump any higher, you're going to hit the sprinklers.
That is before. Well, I really used to be able to jump. Can't do that anymore.
Well, here can I.
I really this was before I started working, so it had to be like in the late 70s.
Cool.
That's amazing.
Such a great photo.
That came in handy on the gazelle jump.
This show was called Honky Tonk Nights, which I originally did as a workshop with the unbelievable Michael Kidd. I actually one of the few people that say they have Michael Kidd on their resume.
You got to work with Michael Kidd?
Yeah, but there was a huge workshop in the city that he directed and choreographed with the show, and Paramount Pictures had put up $5 million. The workshop did not go well. The dances were unbelievable. Let me preface that. The show did not go, and then several years later, they revamped it and had a new director choreographer, Ernie Flatt, who used to do all the dances on the Carol Burnett show.
Wow.
So I worked with him, and this is a picture from that production. The star of this is Joe Morton, who who you can see as Cyborg's father in the Justice League movie, and amongst many things, but a fantastic actor. And
is he in this picture?
Yeah, of course. I can't
see
where, but because it's so small, but he's
you can't see it if you're on the phone.
Oh yeah, on the phone. Yeah.
Sorry.
Terry Burrell is in this, as is Michael Denby Kane, as is Ira Hawkins, as is Kym Salid, as is Susan Bobian, and Reggie Bell Johnson, who was Steve Urkel's on that show. Yeah, so it was
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so did this. Oh, that is backstage. National Tour of Sweet Charity in my Rhythm of Life costume.
Yes, it is.
Where?
I don't know which theater that is. I can't tell. I think it might be the National in Washington.
Did you play Daddy as well? Did you cover Daddy?
No. I was one of the sidemen.
Okay. Wow.
This is on national tour with Chita Rivera and Kiss of the Spider Woman. The guy standing to my right is Sergio Trujillo, who choreographed On Your Feet amongst many other shows. And I'm also in the picture. I believe that's probably Sebastian Lacaze, a really great actor out in LA, and Richard Montoya, who danced for years and years and years he was one of Anne Margaret's main dancers.
Oh wow. Wow.
And this is backstage at the revival of Guys and Dolls.
Look at that.
And that's me with my partner Greta Martin, and this is my Runyon Land costume.
Is this Broadway?
This was Broadway. I was supposed to be in the original cast, and I hurt myself 2 days before the first preview and was out for 6 months, so I missed opening.
Wow.
And
who
but I
was
did
choreography by who?
Chris Chadman, who was
Chris Chadman.
a long-term Fosse dancer, and
Yes.
phenomenal. The choreography was phenomenal. Unfortunately, we lost him to age, or he would have done many shows.
Is that what from Lloyd? Da-da.
Yes, yep. That's from Take Back Your Mink.
Take Back Your Mink. Yeah, we learned that from. I love that little number. We learned that from Michael Paternostro.
Yeah, that's from this production of Guys and Dolls. It was
Okay.
fantastic. We starred Nathan Lane and Faith Prince, and J.K. Simmons was in the show as well. Academy Award winner. A fantastic production.
Wow.
This was one of my opening night gifts from Loretta Devine. This is an in the show shot from Beat Me Daddy from Big Deal. The woman to my right is Stephanie Pope.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, that's Stephanie right there. And there we are in the middle of the show. And that would be Cisco to my left, and the fantastic George Russell in the green suit. The gentleman downstage is Frank Mastrocola, a fantastic performer, and he owns a huge studio with his wife in New Jersey. And the blonde is Diana Lawrenson, who is swing of the show.
Amazing. And she major teacher. And so Wayne wasn't in that picture, Salento.
No. This is another shot from Big Deal, and me with my friend Cisco, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of hanging around backstage somewhere. Mm-hmm. And that is what my opening costume, Rug Cutter from Sophisticated Ladies. I believe this shot was taken backstage at the theater, which is diagonally across from Tokyo Disneyland in Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
Look at your face, like just big face.
Well, Willa had made me a brand new set of costumes for the show. So I thought, let me take some pictures because the costumes are absolutely fresh. This is from Don't Mean a Thing, which you just saw a clip of.
Right.
Another costume from the show, and that's me backstage.
That's amazing. Lloyd, we have a question from one of our students who was one of our mentors, Marissa, and she says, what would you attribute your consistent success with, and how did you keep momentum in such an unpredictable career?
Let's be clear. I mean, I think I'm talented, but I think a lot of it is just luck. I mean, there are billions and billions of talented people out there, and sometimes it's just a matter of a certain amount of things falling in row. It's not that I was the most phenomenal person on earth. I think I'm talented, but I think that there's a lot of talented people. I was just very, very fortunate, and I think that really breaks it down. I was really, really lucky.
And once you kind of get momentum, that's the thing with Broadway that was a big change for me coming out to LA, is once you get momentum in Broadway and you get in shows, you kind of can like go from show to show to show to show. It just kind of creates this momentum of work.
That happened for you, Lex, for sure. I mean, there was a moment where I reached out to Alexis saying, I left the tour of Fosse, Lloyd, as soon as I don't know if you remember that or not, but I chose to leave to go be an actress. Like, I truly left dancing and then went to LA. And then I remember while I was out there, Lex stayed in New York and started getting that momentum of the Broadway shows. And I remember calling her and being like, Lex, you got to come out here before you came out here. You got to come out here. And I remember you saying, Lex, you're like, I really am loving doing the Broadway world right now, and the scene and the feel, and I'm in it, you know. And she was.
Yeah, I think also too, the further I got along, the better the work ethic got. And I think that you produce, and that helps, and I think, and then you also prove to certain people in the business that you actually can produce, and one thing leads to another. And you know, once again, there's a lot of luck involved, and I'm just very grateful for the ride that I had.
Lloyd, I want to show, I think we're going to do 2 more things, Lex. We'll show the Chita Rivera, and then we'll ask our last question. You got to work with the icon to us all, Mrs. Chita Rivera. I'm saying Mrs. and I don't even know. And I want to show this little thing that I found, not little thing that I found, but I saw a little bit of a clip. So we're going to go and watch that. And then we just want to hear your thoughts and what you learned from that job and what that was like working with how Chita became Chita.
Oh, okay.
Hold on 1 second.
I saw you in this.
Oh, sorry. I saw you in this too. Alexis, are you saying you saw? Sorry, I can't.
Yes, we saw you in this.
We sure did. Both of us. I saw your closing show. Yeah, there you are. Yeah. Is that you?
That's me.
Yeah, I thought.
Amazing. Just like,
Stop it.
what was that like, Lloyd?
It was an amazing project. Everyone was of a certain age. We were all what I would call adults. We really were like a family. The show was an absolute huge, huge hit in San Diego. It was a real shame what happened in New York. But I enjoyed every single minute of it. I can honestly say that. And of course, getting another opportunity to work with, I'd worked with Chita and Spider-Woman. I did her nightclub act. You know, there've been a lot of journeys. She's been incredibly, incredibly supportive. And it's just been an amazing, I've been very, very lucky. I've been
but also, right?
Go ahead.
You did that after Fosse, right?
Oh, yeah. No, that was actually my last job.
Wow. Right. What a way to go out.
Yeah, I did that, and then I did it on tour, and then I got to go in a couple minutes. We were, and we can do this another time. They did a big, Actors Fund did a big thing for I believe it was the 50th or so anniversary of West Side Story. Mm-hmm. And the DANCIN live cast was asked to participate in this big opening number they put together for the Actors Fund. They brought back 20 of the original cast members, and it was a whole huge thing. And I think there were like 2 or so performances of it. And I was sitting in the basement with my friend Steve and Sophia at the end of the thing, because we had to go on stage to take a big cast picture the last day. And I was sitting next to him, and I said, you know, yeah, I think this is it. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I said, I think this is the last one. And it was. I did the benefit, and then I kind of hung them up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you focused on teaching.
Well, I kind of felt, and you know, in trying to move into directing and choreographing. So, you know, I could still do the work, but at the rehearsal for the Actors Fund thing, we performed all together for the first time for the designers in this tiny rehearsal studio at Ripley Greer. And it was a rainy day in November. And we finished the thing. The room was like as hot as blazes. And I looked into the mirror, and I was looking around. Everybody was like, oh my God, that's amazing, because nobody had ever seen anybody else's part of the entire thing. And I saw this older guy in the mirror, and I knew he looked familiar, but I didn't know who. I was like, what is his name? Who is that? And then I looked a little closer and I realized that I was looking at myself. And I saw myself in a way, and I realized that I could still do the work, but I didn't look like those kids anymore, and it was time to move on. And actually, just very quickly, a little prior to that, when we were teching the tour of the Dancers Live, Graciela one day at the tour, everything shut down because of a problem during the tech. And I happened to be, she was just sitting in the theater because everybody had wandered off. It shut down for hours. And I was wandering through, and she asked me to sit next to her, and she sat me down and she goes, you know, I've been watching you, Lloyd. She goes, I think you're really talented. You need to go and start doing your own thing. You're bored, and you're only going to get more bored, and it's time for you to move on.
Wow.
And I think that by the time that the Actors Fund thing happened, we had done the tour, and now all of this had gone on, and I realized that she was absolutely right. And that was that. And now I'm on to the next path. So
yeah, we have one last question, and it leads perfectly into it. The last question is, if you could look at your little former self, what's something that what you would say to little Lloyd now, years later? What would you say to yourself?
I would say to work harder, be more focused, but to not take myself quite as seriously.
Love that.
Yeah, I do.
Lloyd, we just so appreciate you doing this.
Oh, no, thank you so much. And I'd love to come back again. I'm actually teaching my first class live tonight, so I have to get.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, we want to have you back for an expert class.
Yeah, we want to have you back to teach.
Well, and I would love to. Thank you all, to anybody that's looking at this.
Listen, they will. This is going to live on.
Yeah, right? It's going to be on our YouTube page.
It's
so you can
forever.
Well, I love you girls. And,
love you.
And once again, to all of you out there, remember, be a good person and vote.
Amen. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye, you guys. And I'll talk to you during the week, yeah?
Love it. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you for
Bye,
Lloyd. Bye, Lloyd.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in for
Thanks,
two. Bye, you guys.
Yeah. Bye, Marissa. Bye, Brittany. Thanks, you guys.